Kumarji, Nimitta Matram Baba. This dilutes ahankara, aham karoti, ahankara, that also to a certain extent, that kartrutva importance it dilutes. Is it not so? We can say, I am only nimitta matram, it is not I am doing. Aham na karta.
Definitely, yes, of course. That ahankara will go away once I have that buddhi. Matra buddhi is there. Then ahankara will be gone. Aggressiveness, aggression, arrogance, all this will go away. Will go away. But what we are saying is that where you draw the line is the question. When will I take responsibility for my actions? That is the thing. That is correct. What you're doing is that do whatever you have to do. And then leave the rest to God. That's what we say. That's a very interesting thing. That I like. Do everything, you do everything you have to do. And then leave the result. That's why karmanyeva adhikarahate. Adhikara is saying you have the right to act, you must act. But karma phalam is not given. That is what nimitta matram. What? Karma phalam is not in your hands. Karma is in your hands. We'll discuss all this. We just started Rukmini. And so you're right. Rukmini is right. So definitely the sublation of ahankara, ego, etc. Arpasadji, go ahead.
Mahodaya, I respect your words. So, did you personally believe in Jyotishya?
Yeah. So, see, the way the Jyotishas people predict, I believe in it. Because otherwise, how they can predict like this? Within minutes, they predict that too. It is not simply the guy goes and sits in front of a computer and then consults many people, this and that. No, nothing. Even if he does that, how are they able to predict? Some iota of benefit of doubt I must give. I can't use one thing, he did not predict this properly, therefore this. I can't say that. Bridge collapsed. Therefore, structural engineering is zero and this one, physics is zero, everything is zero. No. Collapsed that's a different problem. Science is science. Whether I understood the science or not is my problem. But is there a science or not? The answer is yes, I believe it. I believe it. I'm not good at it, but I believe it. And this is the thing. The reason we all have, I used to wonder why we doubt Jyotisha when it has been there in our country for God knows thousands of years. Why we have still doubted? That is because the British, what they did, they found this thing. They said, you know what? They figured out, we figured out so much about the solar system. Okay? Shatapatha Brahmana has the statement that says, the distance between the earth and the moon is 108 times the diameter of the moon. And guess what? Science says it's pretty close, 107.16 or something like that. And the distance between the earth and the sun is 108 times the diameter of
the sun. Of the sun.
Of the sun or earth?
Of the earth.
I think it is earth. Now I'm not sure, but we have to clarify it.
Okay.
And the science says it is close to 108.
Okay.
Where is this coming from? And you look at all our Aryabhattas and this and that, they figured out all this heliocentric versus geocentric. The whole world was saying geocentric. And they think West came up with the heliocentric. Hey, we've been having this heliocentric model for a long time. The British came and said, we have to find a way to finish these people off. Otherwise, these people they have figured out all this fact long, long ago. So what they did, they took this, our entire science, because science, Jyotisha was not separate. Astrology and astronomy were not separate things in our culture. These guys said, we're going to take the best out of all this. We call it astronomy and then leave all the dirty business called astrology to them and make them call them superstitious. Really, Haraprasad, we have to study this. We have to really study it and understand what all happened in the past. This is what I understood from the past. And so, do I believe in astrology or Jyotisha and all? Absolutely. We all should seriously consider believing it if we don't believe. Now, should I lead my life based on this? That's personal choice. Okay, that's a personal choice. But it's a fuel gauge, remember. All these are like the fuel gauge, it's an indicator, and that model is uncanny. I believe in it.
So what you are saying is the Jyotisha is true, but the people who interpret that Jyotisha may not be they may not calibrate it towards the reality.
Like medical doctors, medicine is a proper science, but there are quacks also. There are people who will do something for a quick buck, correct? And they even buy their degrees. You can buy in India, you can buy degrees. Okay. And you have degrees, they can have a board, you can have a clinic, and people will come. That's it over. Not the fault of the science of medicine. It is some other problem. Same thing. Here also, same thing. You have to expect whenever there is a science, when something is to be known properly, all possibilities are there.
Okay. Okay.
Just the
Then you wanna have
calculation
more.
of the
Good doctor
Panchanga for the
also
next year,
misdiagnoses, no, at
Jaykumar ji.
times.
1 minute. Okay, Anirudh, go
Just-
ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. So I was just going to say that a good doctor also misdiagnoses at times, right? I mean, we know that, right? Okay, but that was not what I wanted to say. I raised my hand. I think the more and more, one looks at it, chapter Adhyaya 1 and Adhyaya 11 are complementary. In Adhyaya 1, there is all Vyavaharik Drishti. Arjuna sees the armies lined up. They are all in formation, ready to fight and everything else. That is all Vyavaharik. He imposes his shoka on it. And we have a whole conversation we've had 2 years back. We don't need to repeat it. In 11, it's Paramarthik Drishti. He's got the Divya Chakshu. He sees Leliya se Grasmana. They are all gone. That's the reality of it. It doesn't happen Vyavaharik that way. Bhishma lies on his bed of arrows and everything else. That's what the telling of the Grantha says. But he sees, based on the Divya Chakshu, that they're all being consumed by Kala. We can take some interpretations of poetic here and there. That's fine. But and the whole order that was there in chapter 1, all the lining of the armies and all that, is all gone by 11. They're all Trunite Ruttamange. Everybody's crushed to death. Correct. So I think I missed some of the classes because I was traveling. I think this thing came up. Why chapter 11, and I think it's just the other side of chapter 1. Just the way you have to. In chapter 1, in Adhyaya 1, Arjuna has that dharmic question. He's dharma sammuda cheta. Here he has akartrutvam in front of him. Despite him lifting up one bow, everything has happened. The yodhas have met their ends and everything else. So I think he's and obviously he is a little taken aback by the vision also, right? The Bahudaram Bahudar Shakaralam. He's all, he's completely, his fabric of thinking is shattered. Who is this person that I'm talking to here, right? So I think, and also there is, and he is not lifted one astra, he is not fired one bow, and the results have taken place. So he is now flabbergasted by Akartrutvam. So I feel they are kind of, really go hand in hand. That was one observation. And fine, we can, I don't know, it's just something. And the second thing that came up today, see, science accepts that massive bodies distort space and time. So why is it so hard to believe that planets distort the space and time that we are in? This is our Maya. Space and time is the Maya that we experience every day. Why is it so hard to believe that Jupiter over there, when it aligns with Mercury, Saturn, whatever else, that the space-time that we experience here is going to get distorted? Why is it so? The fact that we don't know what those distortions lead to are the black areas. I mean, our understanding is not that advanced. But I think that's where the interpretation of some of the astrological things, I think we have to give them latitude. I just wanted to comment on the point earlier today. This 100 years back, they kind of accepted that massive bodies distort space and time. That is incontrovertible. Nobody will doubt that. Nobody. Sun distorts space time. Everything is distorted. And if they are aligned and there's a distortion that goes in a different way, why is it so hard to accept? Even from a scientific perspective, right? Those two comments I wanted to make.
Why is it hard to accept that the planets out there have some influence on us?
Yes, it distorts. It's been observed. It's been measured. They say that, there are calculations people do and they can exactly predict how it is the path of the earth is going to change. So why is it so hard to accept that we, as let's say these jivas on earth, we are going to be influenced? Okay, so I'm thinking that we just leave it aside at that.
Right. Fair enough. Good observations.
So
Yeah.
high tide and low tide itself is an influence of the moon.
Yeah, exactly. And that happens on a daily basis. Every hour it happens. So why is it so hard to accept that?
Correct.
And also I was telling is the Panchanga that they predict 1 year ahead of time, depending on the positions, the exact time where what is going to happen, whether famine is going to be there or not. All these things they are predicted ahead of time. That means there are calculations and there's a science to it. It's not just that it's just that we don't know that. And but you cannot deny that it is a science, and like any science, it has its fallacies, but there is a method to it.
Agreed. Yeah.
Definitely. Panchangam is another mind-boggling thing.
It is.
And these people, they are
What
so
time the sun rises, what time the sun sets, when is the Rahu Kalam, all those things, everything it is determined up to the second.
And who does it? There are 1 or 2 people only write this whole Panchangam. They are so good at it. They can just write like this. They keep on writing. And like you said, famines are predicted from all the big events that can happen in this next year. They predict all this. Panchangam is the one that is used by Hindus for determining when to do what are the auspicious times, etc., etc. And so it is still something that is not appreciated by the so-called intellectuals, right? It is not taught in schools, etc. So that's also evidence that it's a science. It's a science that somehow I think we should nourish that science and make it more mainstream. That's what I'm thinking.
That's why Panchanga Padanam is so important. I mean, people do that every year. I mean, look at this. Other religion, for example, Islamic religion, not a single thing they predict properly. It will be either one day before or one day later. I mean, I know when I grew up in schools, our holidays for Muharram and all, we don't know. It will be one day before or one day later. Because depending upon when somebody sees the moon. Right? Our Diwali is same. There's no difference. I mean, or any other functions.
Guruji, I have also heard Swamiji speak about Manda, Madhyama, and Prabala karmas. And we have this astrology talking about Pariharam and all that. So it itself shows that it is based on both, it carries both the ideas together, like the fate as well as free will, right? Pariharam comes in the category of free will, that so we cannot deny that there is free will, because certain things is very much possible for us to, overcome. So that is probably, that's the reason the science of Jyotisham will help mankind to set right certain things, so that we can prevent certain things from happening if it is Manda and Madhyama karmas, and probably certain things we cannot influence. That's what I have heard even Paramarthananda ji talk about.
Guruji, I also attended a couple of sessions of Swami Jagadatmananda, the astrology course, what he did along with Yasyasa.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So there he made one statement saying that the planetary positions at the time of birth is an indication of your prarabdha karma. It's a snapshot, tells what is your prarabdha.
Correct. It's a prarabdha reading.
It's a prarabdha reading.
Prarabdha reading. So all this palmistry and all the chart reading is all prarabdha reading. That is what it is. Karma reading. Karma is the fuel that sets my life in motion. Therefore, what is that fuel? Let's understand it better. Is it contaminated fuel? How contaminated it is? Is there any water in this petrol? All this we can talk. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Yeah. Called karma reading.
And one of the reasons of some of these distortions that have happened by everybody is not able to predict the same thing. Every astrologer is basically what he mentioned was that, see, the earth position also keeps drifting over a period of time. Every 100 years, there's a small shift in the axis. That calculations have to be built into your astrological calculations. He says that that knowledge is being lost over a period of time because that skill is not being continued.
And also to some extent, they say the sadhana, like when you predict something, like especially a big event that is happening, you have to have certain japa, or that sadhana you have to do before predicting. You have to do certain kind of japa or whatever it is. Then only your predictions come true. But if you don't have that, nowadays we do it for money. And we do it because of like materialistic gain for fame or anything. But from what my guru says is, you have to have a sadhana, even to do anything, just like a Upanayanam. You should do Gayatri Mantra like 25,000 times or something like that. When you do that with that sadhana behind you, the prediction usually comes true.
Yes, true. Everything is true. And this is not an ordinary thing. And we don't know much about it. This is what we can say. To be honest, we don't know much about it. Therefore, at least everything I learned through the Western lens, Western lens, English. Through English books, you try to figure out India. And that's how it has become. So we don't know much about this. And I've been thinking of organizing a series of talks. We have, I think many of you know Raj Vedam. And so he is an expert at this stuff. Expert means expert. In his talks, he will give you what is the meaning of Rohini Nakshatram, what is the meaning of Kritika Nakshatram. Everything he will show you by doing simulations and showing actual pictures, nighttime pictures, photography and all he has taken, and he will tell you all that. And he will tell you this story about how this astronomy came out of astrology. I've been telling him here, talk to us about the times when astronomy and astrology were together. Start from that story and then tell us what all happened. It's been promising. I think we have to catch hold of him and then talk to us for
the
4
basic
hours.
knowledge would help, Jai Kumarji, because we, like you said, we don't even have the basic knowledge to say what it is. This is, most of the things is what we have seen in very small scale. But if we understand it, I'm sure it's more meaningful.
So Mohini, here's the thing. Raj Vedam lives in Houston. You also live in the US. Okay, you people are in the same time zone in general. And so I'll give you Raj Vedam's number.
Okay.
You can introduce yourself and I mean, he's on the board of Ashavidya Satsanga that we have in Houston, etc. So we're very good friends. Tell him about this discussion and tell him Jaykumarji said that you promised him long ago, many years ago, and you've been promising every year also. And the time has come now. You tell him, and then he will come.
I'll definitely do it. Yes, give me the number. I will call and talk to him. At least the basic things, if we can understand.
Correct. And when I first heard all this from him, I said, this is something we have to begin to understand, because there's a whole science that we have just left there hanging, You believe it, but you don't know anything about it. And so we will definitely make some inroads into that, Mohini ji and others. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Actually, yesterday Rajvedam had a talk on reconstructing Hindu history.
Okay. I see.
Yeah, in that Hindu University of America. He had
Yeah, in Florida.
Okay, I see. Right. Okay.
Is a faculty in HUA. Taking all this, yeah.
Yeah, Florida. It used to be Florida. Now it's not Florida. That HUA is gone. Now it's Kalyan Vishwanathan has done wonders to HUA. So online courses. Good. So let's do that. That's an action for us, Mohini ji, and we'll hear something good. We want to let Raj decide how he wants to do it. We don't have to rush through it. Some of us may not even know the basics about planetary systems. We'll start with the basics. And then this Narayananji mentioned this, what happens? Earth's axis is till there is a 22.5 whatever degree tilt, okay? But then every 10,000 years, that axis also changes by so many half a degree.
No. So Guruji, it's the polarity. Every 10,000 or whatever years, the polarity switches. The sun's polarity switches every 7 years or 11 years. It's regular, but Earth is not predictable.
Polarity is different. This is called precession. Look this up. Precession. It's called precession. Precession means it is like, okay, it is, what it is like? Raj gives a very good example. The top, the children, we used to play top. The top just rotates like this. But then, as it rotates on its axis, it also goes like this.
Mm-hmm.
The axis also kind of goes like this and still rotates also. That is called precession.
It takes 26,700 years as per his calculation.
Okay, our people know all this stuff. Without going to any school, they know all this. Okay, he will talk. He's the right person to talk about all this. So let's pray for that to happen. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions? Nadi Joshyam, then what? Okay, so this is good. So distance between Earth and Sun is about 100 times the diameter of the Sun, and Moon 100 times the diameter of Moon. Okay, so Earth's diameter doesn't come into play here. So that's a good fact to know. And we can accept the predictions only when they predict our future. Only indications they can give. Okay. Indication. So, Bhartrihari, Harinapi, Harenapi. Srividya is saying it is Niti. Niti Shatakam must be. Niti Shatakam. Loka number. Niti Shastram, you say. I think it must be Niti Shatakam of Bhartrihari. So let's look that up. Shloka number 36 of Niti Shatakam. Let me write that down.
Well, I remember this when I was in college.
Oh, really?
I read that. So I'm not sure about the Shastram or Shastram, something.
I see. Very nice. Because Bhartrihari's statements are all very profound.
Some 4 to 5 shlokas for us to remember and write the meaning in that way.
I see. So in college you studied all this, huh?
Yes, as a second, I passed out of English literature, so I had Sanskrit as language.
Sanskrit. as a second language in when you were studying in college.
Yes.
Very nice. It's very nice. That is when we will not lose touch, from the language.
Yes, yes. That was Sri Lakshmi Ramaswamy College College for Women.
Okay.
So they made it very.
In Trichy, right?
Even today, the Sanskrit department.
Trichy, Amma.
Yes.
So you all 4 years you studied.
I studied from 9th till college in the same institution, same hostel.
Okay. I see. Okay, good. That's good. So 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 4 more years. So 8 or 9 years you
No,
studied.
3 years of college.
3 years. Okay. Good. Very nice. Very nice. And good that you are continuing the study here. So how is that? How is your Sanskrit class and all going?
Yes. Okay. This year it is very it's not that much easy. It's even I'm finding it difficult also this year. To concentrate also is difficult.
Okay. Okay. You are in Sasim or are you in
No, the Lata.
Lata? You're in Lata. Okay. Lata exams are coming up.
Yes, yes. Good.
Good. Good. All the best. All the best. Vaidya, go ahead.
Jaykumarji, last class we talked about the 6 anadis, Jiva, Ishvara, Vishuddha, Chit, Jiveshwara, Bida, Avidya, and then the association of Avidya with Chit, right? The last one, Tat Chit Yor Yoga. Tat Chidor Yoga. So that last one, I'd like you to explain a little bit more, this association of Avidya with Chit. What does that refer to?
Yeah. So Atma and Anatma Yoga. See, Atma and Anatma, are they together or not? They are together. That is what it means. Tat Chitor Yoga means Chit is Anadi and Avidya also is Anadi. And they come together. They come as a thali, package deal it is. It is never, it is never separate. That is what they're saying there. And and so Avidya is Mithya. Avidya is Mithya. And therefore, Tachitor Yoga. What is the connection between clay and pot? Suppose I say, Mrit Ghatayor Yoga. Mrit means clay. Ghata is pot. Suppose I say, Mrit Ghatayor Yoga. Anadi, suppose I say. Okay, let's understand that. What is Mrit Ghatayor Yoga? What is our understanding of the yoga, the connection between clay and pot? What is our understanding?
Yeah, one would say that the pot is made of clay.
Pot is clay, but clay is not pot.
Pot is made of clay, therefore pot is clay, but clay is not pot.
Right.
They're inseparable.
Dependent existence. God depends on clay.
Pot depends on clay. Clay is not dependent on pot for its existence. Okay, good. All those are correct statements. Therefore, the connection between pot and clay is...
Pot is just Namarupa.
The connection is incidental.
What is Mithya? What is Mithya? Clay is
Incidental,
Satyam.
yeah.
Pot is Mithya, clay is Satyam. Okay, that is correct. So if in a train, all these bogies, all these coaches are all connected, and you can disconnect them, and you can connect them, you can disconnect them. In a family, family members are connected without being physically connected. They are connected. There is an emotional bond between family members. There is that kind of connection. Yoga is there. So like this, many types of connections we know. Physical connections, non-physical connections. Some people might say spiritual connection also is there. Like that, we can argue. The connection between pot and clay, is it a physical connection? Okay, think about it. Don't answer now. Is it a physical connection? Is it an emotional connection? Is it a spiritual connection? Which of those connections we know is there in this pot and clay system? That is the question.
It's a cognitive connection. It's a cognitive connection.
Cognitive connection.
The reason is where you see the pot, you see the clay.
So therefore, it is not a physical connection.
It is Vyavaharika, it is physical connection.
Which is a bold statement, because pot is physical or not physical? Clay is physical or not physical? Clay is physical, pot is also physical, but the connection between them is not physical. Hey, that is, how can one accept that? But good, but at least you said it's, even though both are physical, both are
Because
physical.
clay can be a pot, clay can be something else like a plate or something else, because the physical connection, if it is, clay should always be like a pot.
Okay, if there is physical connection, these two must be independent entities. Then only you can say pot is physical and then clay is there, and like the two things that are, any two things that are there here, okay, a clock and a book, these are two physical things. And what is the yoga between the two? Well, right now the clock is on the book. That's the main connection. Clock is on top, or it can be this way also. Book is on top of clock. All that is some connection there. But between pot and clay, since we said that pot is totally dependent on clay for its existence. In fact, existence does not depend, does not exist in the pot. It only exists in clay. Clay temporarily donates its existence to the pot. So much we have said. And so this connection between clay and pot is very interesting indeed. It is not a physical connection. It is not an emotional connection. Spiritual connection and all, we don't have to bring that here. Like they said, cognitive.
Incidental connection?
Incidental connection, cognitive connection. Cognitive connection, we can say. Means what? Still we have to understand what it is.
Guruji, can we say that if it has all these connections, they have independent cause, whereas in this, there is no independent cause? Like physical connections, two different entities are connected, so they have an independent cause. But here it is not like that.
So here the key is, one is the cause, the other is the effect. That's the problem here. Clay is the cause of the pot. Cause means what? Clay is the upadana karanam of the pot. Karanam, it is a karanam, no doubt. And when cause and effect is like that, or in the apparently same object, there is cause, same object, there is an effect. Clay is not an effect, clay is only the cause. And pot is the effect. Pot is the product. When a situation like this happens, what our Shastra says this. There are three types of sambandhas. Yoga here is sambandha. Three types of sambandha. One is what? Sanyoga sambandha. Sanyoga sambandha. Okay? Sanyoga sambandha. So like this bottle. What is the connection between the bottle and the cap of the bottle? Sanyoga sambandha. They are two separate things, but they are somehow connected to each other in this manner. Okay? That's called sanyoga. Two separate things coming together. You can separate them or join them. That's called Sanyoga Sambandha. Then Samavaya Sambandha. Samavaya Sambandha. Here is a clock. Here is a clock. Or better, this one. This is a better one. So pencil is there. This is a pencil. It's a lead pencil, mechanical pencil. That's what this is. Okay. Now, what is the connection between the pen and the various parts of this pencil? Well, here it is. Here is an eraser. Then here are all these leads that are coming out of this pencil. And then further, you can turn this out and you can pull this out. You can click and get this. So many pieces are there. You can just remove all the pieces one by one carefully. And then, so what is the connection between all these so many pieces that are now there? Well, it's called Samavaya Sambandha. Samavaya Sambandha means there is a connection between them, and that connection is they're all parts of a bigger whole. They're all parts, they all come together in a particular fashion, and then there is a function that happens to that final effect. That's called Samavaya Sambandha. Even though each part is an individual, independent part, still they are all connected because they have an important role to play. Only if they connect in a particular way, this thing will function. If you don't do it in that way, it won't function.
Something like an automobile?
Everything, automobile, this clock is there, automobile, anything that is put together, any object that is put together has a Samavaya Sambandha, including a tree, leaf, fruit, everything, Samavaya Sambandha. Okay. Sanyoga Sambandha, Sanyoga Sambandha, first one, Samavaya Sambandha. Then, what about this pot clay? Sanyoga Sambandha? No, because pot and clay are not two separate independent objects. Samavaya Sambandha? Parts, two parts coming together to make a whole? No, not like that. Then what Sambandha it is? It is called Adhyasa Sambandha. Adhyasa Sambandha means I am projecting a pot on the clay. What is the connection between the rope and the snake?
Adhyasa.
Same thing.
Same thing. Even though there we say Pratipasika Satyam, this is not Pratipasika Satyam. The pot is not as unreal as the snake. The pot has a better reality than the snake. Snake is Pratipasika Satyam. This is Vyavaharika Satyam. Better reality. It continues to be there. Whether I like it or not, pot will continue to be there. I am not projecting pot on this, but I am also projecting pot on this, and that projection is called Adhyasa. It is a projection, Shastram says. Because if the reality is taken up by the clay, then the pot's existence becomes very shaky. And mithya, you use the word mithya for the pot, that's good. But mithya is also a type of projection. And they say it is adhyasa sambandha. Why adhyasa? Well, that is because not just pot, but pot is clay, clay is mud, mud is this, atoms and all. Finally, what will it come down to? Brahma. Therefore, Shastram says, I am projecting the world on Brahma. If everything is Brahma, but I say, no, I don't see Brahma, but I see so many beautiful things. If I say, good, fine, you are projecting beautiful things on Brahma. It's called Adhyasa Sambandha. So, now is the time for us to talk about Adhyasa. Initially, it's been 2-3 years now that all of you have studied the Shastra well. It's time to bring in Adhyasa. Whenever opportunity arises, we will do that. But that's the third type of Sambandha. Adhyasa sambandha, it is a relationship like between this rope and snake. Okay? Projection, another type of sambandha. Therefore, back to Vaidya's question. Avidya tachitor yogaha. Avidya is also a projection on Chit, Brahma. Correct? Everything is a projection on Chit. But the problem is Avidya is also Anadi. It's Anadi projection. Snake at least is a projection. Now I project, now I deproject, now I project, now I deproject. That goes on. But this Anadi makes me project all the time. And so Anadi is, Avidya is Anadi. Sorry, Avidya. And so, Tachitor Yoga. That Adhyasa is Anadi. Okay? Adhyasa is Anadi. And Adhyasa will go. It is Antam, Antavat, not Anantam. Just like Avidya goes away. So that's the long answer to your short question, Vaidyaji.
That's very, very good. Thank you so much. That explains it very well. Thank you, Swami. So, Jaykumar, the other thing I wanted to say was these things which are antavat, they're also mithya, right? So the jiva is mithya, the avidya is mithya, the tachidor yoga is mithya, and jiveshwara bida is also mithya, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Jaykumarji, the sambandhas which you talked about is part of Anubandha Chatushtaya. When you talk about sambandhas, it comes under part of that?
no. Anubandha Chatushtayam is entirely different. Entirely different. There, the sambandha talked about is the sambandha between what and what?
Brahman and
what is where are you going? Who wants to answer this question? What is Anubandha
Vishaya,
Chatushtaya?
Adhikari, then Prayojana and Sambandha. So that's
Right.
like whenever you take a topic, what are you discussing? Then you talk about these things.
To realize the
What
truth.
is this topic? Who is it meant for? The Adhikari? What's the Prayojana? And what's the Sambandha between the subject and the I think there are different kinds of Sambandhas again there. Vishaya and
therefore, Anubandha Chatushtaya means there are 4 things. Whenever we study any topic, not just Vedanta, any topic, 4 things have to be clearly mentioned. What are the 4 things? What is the topic? What are we going to discuss today?
Subject matter.
Vishaya. Vishaya. Okay. All right. Then what? Then who is the adhikari? Means who is qualified to read this? Is it everybody, or is it only college graduates, or beyond college graduates, or is it children like right now? Mira is going to conduct a course. Who are the adhikaris for that? Well, we have clearly mentioned who the adhikari is in the announcement. What is it? What is the age group, ma?
6 to 16.
6 to 16, pretty broad age group. Okay, 6 to 16. Anybody who's in school can come. That is adhikari for this course. Correct? Then, Vishaya, adhikari, Prayojana. What is the use? Why should the children come? So they put up a poster. Oh, you should know more about your country, your culture, and we'll teach you yoga. So therefore, you can learn yoga and pranayama, free from stress. All these things are there. These are all prayojana. Some prayojana must be there. Children should know why they should come here. So that's called prayojana. Then sambandha. That is the 4th one. Sambandha. Sambandha means what? What is the connection between the Vishaya and the adhikari? What is the connection between the Vishaya and the Prayojana? What is the connection between adhikari and Prayojana? These connections between the two. What is the logic? What do you mean when you say, when I come attend this camp, I will know more about my culture? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that is sambandha. Well, I'll tell you what I mean by that. I'm going to teach you shlokas. Shlokas talk about your culture only. Your grandparents, your parents, everybody did this, and you're in your puja room itself, it's all there. And therefore, you'll come to know more about what is in your puja room. And beyond that, what is Veda and all will teach you. And thereby, you will know our culture. That is called the Sambandha between the Vishaya and the Prayojana. That's called Sambandha. So, Prasad, this Sambandha there is entirely different. It has nothing to do with that. This Sambandha we're talking. This is Vastu Sambandha. There it is. Anubandha Chatushtaya Sambandha.
So there is just definition like what is the truth and the relation between the truth and what you are trying to goal. So which is prayojana.
There means what? Anubandha Chatushtaya.
Yeah, and Anubandha Chatushtaya. So that is
Correct.
just the definition there. Okay.
Correct. Any text, any text, not just any text has to be looked at it like that. So what they do when our acharyas, when they comment on text, you know what they do? They will first explain the Anubandha Chatushtayam. Vishaya. What is the Vishaya? The Vishaya of this particular text. Okay, it can be an Upanishad, it can be Bhagavad Gita. It can be somebody writing a commentary of Shankaracharya's text. That somebody has to write what is the Vishaya, what is the Prayojanam. The author of the text has to say this. Atma Bodha, there is a text written by Shankaracharya. And he says, the first shloka, Tapobi Kshina Papanam Shantanam Vitaraginam Mumukshunam Apekshoyam Atma Bodho Vidhiyate. Like this we studied in Tattva Bodha also. That first shloka explains this Anubandha Chatushtaya. How? Tapobi Kshina Papanam Shantanam Vitaraginam Mumukshunam Apeksha. Mumukshu. Hey, those who are desirous of moksha, Mumukshunam, they want more. That means prayojanam of this text is what? Moksha is the prayojanam of this text. And who are the adhikaris? Well, the entire thing is said. Tapobihi, those who are disciplined. Kshina papanam, those who have done their karma yoga and therefore they are fairly unaffected by ragadveshas. Shantanam, who are calm now, who have shamadamadi is there for them. Vitaraginam, well, they have vairagyam also. So that adhikaritvam comes. These are the people who are adhikaris for this particular text. Only they can read and understand this text. Everybody else will run away from this text. So then what? Mumukshunam apekshoyam atma bodho vidhiyate. I'm going to teach, and this text is called Atma Bodha. It is a text that gives the knowledge of the self. That means he's telling more about what this moksha is. Everything in the first shloka it's. And connections, etc., we infer sometimes and we explain it out. So that is Anubandha Chatushtayam.
Thank you.
Yeah, Vijay, go ahead.
Guruji, you mentioned about Samavaya Sambandham. In that, you also mentioned about tree and leaves and fruits, right? The leaves, fruits, tree of the tree all come from the tree itself, right? It's not like parts put together to make the whole. Is that slightly different from the pen example you showed?
Yeah. So when etc. is Jiva Srishti, this is Ishvara Srishti. Tree is Ishvara Srishti. Yeah, it's not like somebody is putting together and sticking all the leaves together. Correct. But we do look at the parts of the tree. We actually draw a tree and we tell our children this part is called leaf, that part is called fruit, this is stem and all we say. So therefore, from that perspective, it is Samavaya Sambandha.
Thank you. Dhanyavad.
We'll pause with that. So I have a suggestion. This one, Satsang, somebody was asking me, then only I got this idea. The things we are discussing in the Satsang, okay, is the Satsang session useful for you? Is it correct to say it's useful? Okay.
Yeah,
All
very
right.
useful. Very useful.
So, see, many people miss, some people see the Satsang videos and may not be many, but some people see. But sometimes what will be helpful is what was discussed in a particular Satsang. What are the question? What questions were asked in a satsang, like that. If you say, then here are the 5 questions that were asked today, something like that. So, can we put together that thing after every class? Here are the things that were discussed. And then after some time, you categorize all this. Okay, this is all karma related. This is moksha related. This is satyam, vyavaharika satyam related. Something we can find our own way of categorizing. But so that kind of thing is there. That at least each satsang, this was discussed. Okay. Or a suggestion that was made. So I feel like we can do something simple like that. We can take turns. We can take turns and then write down what was discussed in a particular satsang. What do you think, Vijay?
Yeah. We can create a knowledge base kind of a thing. So yeah, that will help in the long run.
I think that is something is useful and we can just take turns. I don't know, Vijay, if you want to take that up and maybe ask for volunteers who will, because it takes time to write down, it may take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. And so should take that much time, I think.
No, is it only the questions you want to categorize or even the answers?
Ideally, at least summarized answers.
Okay.
Ideally, because to summarize answer, one has to understand the answer properly and then summarize it. And like Vaidya's question, Tat Chitor Yogaha. What does it mean? So I have to summarize. So maybe one way to do it, Vijay, is this. The person who asked the question should write the question and answer.
That's a good idea. Yeah. That
Vaidya
makes
is saying
sense. Yeah.
but there's a problem with that. If I say that, then everybody stop attending satsang. That also is another problem. Whatever we do, I tell you, you people will find a way out of that. I don't want that to happen. Mahesh ji will call me up and say, Jay Kumar ji, this is not a good idea. People will stop attending because he's concerned about attendance also. Because classes are good, and so he will say, no, that's not a good idea. Don't make people do work. Like that, he will come and tell me. And so, I don't know. You think about it. I don't want to impose anything on you. But if we take turns, I think that'll be because I see a lot of forwards and here in the group, and sometimes thinking, what is the purpose?
True.
I'm not saying you should not forward anything at all, but so I said, what? That time we could at least have summarized today's satsang. That will be a good exercise for all of us. Like that. So Vijay, can you discuss that with your group
Yeah, I'll discuss Narayananji and a few others.
I can leave now. You can discuss now itself if you want, but I can do that. Okay. Those who want to stay back can briefly discuss.
Okay.
It's already 8:30 here, but Om Ayam Dharmaha Uttarottara Bhivriddhirastu. Thank you very much. Thank you.